This is the Steve Gruber Show.
Glad to have you on board here as we roll into another brand new hour of the Steve Gruber Show. You all right, Anthony? Anthony always yells when I don't have my mic open. Sometimes I forget to reopen the mic. He gets all fired up.
I gotta scream.
Yeah. Anyhow, welcome back to the next hour of the Steve Gruber Show. Glad to have you here. Three big things you need to know right now. Number one, the mayor of Dearborn, Abdullah Hamoud, basically says he doesn't care that he told a Christian resident he's not allowed in the city. He says it's an Arabic city. Yeah, okay. We'll talk about that coming up. Number two, illegal aliens generally not eligible for food stamps in Michigan. Well, there's 32,000 or more collecting food stamps today in your state illegally, taking money and food out of the mouths of Michigan residents. And number three, this is kind of a big story. I'm going to work through all that. But I think this is an important story. It comes for grandparents. Grandparents now have a stake in custody battles. I think that's a very big deal. Yeah, because previously, generally, just parents have a stake in this. But Michigan law has grandparenting time, rule MCL 722.27b, and lets grandparents ask the court for visitation when their grandchildren are in certain situations. The law explains how grandparents can file affidavits, request hearings, and present evidence in court. Now, under Michigan law, grandparents can ask for visitation under specific circumstances. It includes when the child's parents are divorcing or already divorced, legally separated, or their marriage has been annulled. All right? Grandparents may also petition if one of the child's parents has died, if the parents were never married and live apart but paternity has been legally established, or if the child is living with someone other than a parent. In addition, if a grandparent has provided a stable home environment for the child during the year before filing, they may seek visitation. Importantly, the law does give strong deference to the decisions of fit parents. Courts presume that a parent's choice to deny visitation does not harm the child unless the grandparent can prove otherwise. Furthermore, adoption usually ends a grandparent's right to seek visitation if it terminates the parental rights of the grandparent's child, unless it's a step-parent adoption involving a deceased parent's child, so on and so forth. This is interesting. Because it weighs into cases where grandparents are denied access because of bitterness and divorce and so forth. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes because the grandparents are people the parent doesn't think the children should be around. Okay, that's a parent's prerogative. I get that. Big conversation, though. Here's an example. Amber Schmoss and Blake Michael Mack had a daughter, LM, in 2014. They never married. After Amber was incarcerated in 2017, Mack was awarded sole custody of the child, and Amber later passed away in 2020. Mack went on to have two more children with another partner, and the family lived together until Mack and Lyons, his new partner, split in 2022. The Schmauses filed for visitation rights in 2023, alleging that DNA results proved that Mack was not LM's biological father, that Lyons had been LM's primary caregiver, and Mack's behavior and household conditions were unsafe. LM had told her grandparents that her father was drunk all the time, her bedroom didn't have enough heat, and he had told her that her grandparents didn't love her anymore. Spouses also told the court that Child Protective Services was investigating Mack regarding allegations that he was intoxicated while the children were in his care, and that he allowed his ex-stepfather to reside in the home even though he had an extensive criminal history of domestic violence. And the list goes on. The spouses also alleged that Mack pleaded guilty to domestic violence in 2013, 2015, and a later incident involving his now ex-partner. Mack denied most of the allegations, stating the spouses had little involvement in LM's life and that the CPS complaint against him was unsubstantiated. The dispute escalated after the spouses' motions for visitation were repeatedly dismissed over procedural issues and because they failed to overcome the legal presumption and a parent's decision to deny visitation. But here's what has been recently decided. According to the Legal News website, on September 10th, the Michigan Court of Appeals disagreed in a published opinion written by Judge Christina Robinson Garrett, joined by Judges Thomas Cameron and Philip Mariani. The court refers to the lower court's decision. The statute clearly allows grandparents who submit affidavits a chance to testify at a minimum. That means that when a grandparent requests visitation and provides the required affidavits, a hearing must be held. Opportunity to be heard as used in the statute necessarily includes presenting evidence. The lower court erred in concluding the Schmauses were not entitled to an evidentiary hearing and that they had not established enough to warrant one. The court opinion also explained that challenging the role of grandparents in modern family structure when they said changes in the composition of American families over the last 125 years have resulted in many states enacting visitation statutes to protect the relationships that children form with non-parent caregivers. Supporting the enactment of non-parent visitation statutes is the notion that children should have the opportunity to benefit from relationships with statutorily specified persons, for example, their grandparents. You know what's sad about all of this? As I read all of that, what's sad about it is that the family's been destroyed in America. Restoring the American family has to be one of the principles, one of the priorities going forward from this day. We must establish the American family. Again, we have to stop monetizing single parenthood. We have to have policies that encourage family dynamics. The nuclear family is a good thing. It's one of the things that Charlie Kirk said that I really, I knew Charlie for, some period of time, met him a number of times, spent some time with him. He's met my family and so forth. But one of the things that I didn't listen to him as much as I should have, maybe. Very smart, very gifted, but I've listened to him more recently. One of the things he said, fall in love, get married, have more kids than you can afford, and create the American family. It's the greatest thing you can ever have. And I agree with that. My nuclear family here is the best thing in my life. It's the best thing in my life. Other than a relationship with God, of course. But all those things kind of run together. They run parallel. They run together. They're all intertwined. Faith, family, freedom. Those things are all intertwined. We have got to reestablish the American family. We have got to reestablish that truth, that the family is the center of civilized society. Now, I don't know about the relationship of these recent killers, the one yesterday or the one that murdered Charlie Kirk. But I can guess that there were weak father figures in those homes, if there was a father figure at all. America needs more dads, more real men, more strong men standing up, looking out for their children, looking out for their families. That's a fact. America needs more real men, strong men. It's not toxic masculinity. It's called being a man, providing for your family, working hard, telling the truth, all of that. Yeah, I got a lot more to talk about today. We'll take a break. I'll be right back. Find out more at SteveGruber.com.